Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Starfire Stadium for what is Game 3 for the Seattle Sounders 2 in this 2016 season. Tonight they face, for the first time ever, San Antonio FC, who coincidentally is their first game ever here at Tukwila, Washington. Hello, everybody. I'm Aaron Heinzen alongside Danny Jackson, former Seattle Sounder. Great to have you here tonight, Danny.
Good to be here.
Well, we're going to start by talking about who's in the lineup tonight for the Seattle Sounders 2. As you may know, Seattle Sounders 2 still struggling to get a win and coincidentally have not scored a goal yet. But tonight they bring back Myron Samuel, who's back from St. Vincent and Grenadines World Cup qualifications. Last year, Mr. Samuel came in as a substitute, scored 2 goals, added 1 assist, and then was injured for the rest of the season. So tonight he's in the starting lineup for S2. What can he bring for them, Danny?
Speed, good on the ball. I think Ezra speaks highly of him as a player who can really be knocking on Ziggy Schmidt's door, pushing and pressing for an opportunity in the first team. And I think these are the opportunities today where he can really kind of push down that claim for Ziggy to look at him and take a shot.
Also, alongside Samuel, just behind him, I should say, actually, is Zach Mathers. We saw him very, very positive in the second game against Arizona United when he pushed forward. What can we expect from Zach tonight? Well,
Zach's an experienced player, coming out of college, ACC, obviously being a young player in the pro ranks, learning his way and finding his way through the Seattle Sounders. But he's a player that can sit in behind. He's got good experience, a lot of goals, a lot of assists in college, and he needs to start putting that on the field for the Sounders FC too.
S2 as well. A new goalkeeper change tonight. Charlie Lyon is on the bench. Tyler Miller steps in. Of course, Tyler played 1 game already for Seattle Sounders' first team tonight, or this season so far. And O'Neal Fisher, again, who you would recognize from last season. O'Neal Fisher started the first game against Sacramento Republic and also started the first game of the Seattle Sounders season. What does he bring to the lineup?
Well, O'Neal Fisher had a great first 40 minutes against Kansas City, and unfortunately get that red card. Obviously, it turned the game and ended up with a loss for the Sounders. But he had a great 40 minutes, got involved with the game, made good decisions defensively, and again, another opportunity to get minutes under his belt and again push a claim for Ziggy to get in that first team squad.
On the other side of the field, Sounders 2 take on San Antonio FC. Tonight is their very first game as a franchise. Always a mystery if you don't know exactly, if you've never seen the team play before, but an exciting opportunity for S2. Very, very exciting for everyone down in San Antonio. They will see as they push forward to maybe have an MLS franchise at some point in time. But this is the very first step for them. Head coach Powell talks about as soon as he got into San Antonio, he started putting his squad together right away. Very, very successful preseason for them. We see a lot of firepower coming from them, and Jason Johnson actually being one. Talk about what he can do tonight.
Well, Jason Johnson, 5 goals, 1 assist in preseason. He's a strong player, got a strong presence up front, and he's a player that can really be dynamic in behind and also with the ball to his feet. So I think you'll see a danger man for San Antonio is certainly Johnson today.
San Antonio bringing a lot of experience, a lot of players with MLS experience going on in the squad this year, and S2 will definitely have a match on their hands tonight as the team start to get ready here at Tukwila, Starfire Sports Stadium. Again, Aaron Heinzen, Danny Jackson with you. Danny, let's talk about the Sounders 2, as I mentioned at the very beginning, still struggling to get a goal. What does that look like for them as a team, as chemistry kind of working together?
Well, the first team squad got a win yesterday. First win after 3 successive losses, and I think S2 is finding the same way. A couple of tough results in the first couple of games. Here's another opportunity with another few games at home coming where they can put together a run of results to start getting on the road and getting results on the road, which of course are always harder to come by.
Definitely, certainly part of S2 is to not only have a successful team on the field, but also develop players. There's several U18 Academy players here tonight for S2 in Hines, one on the left-hand side, Nick Hines, and in the middle is Toby Johnhope, who we've seen have a pretty successful partnership so far with Tony Alfaro in the middle. You talk about those guys' experience a little bit.
Well, the great opportunity that comes with injuries are opportunities for players, young players like the academy players. And I think Hines being a strong player on the left-hand side, again, young players, 18 years of age, playing in front of fans, playing with experienced players on the other side of the field. As you mentioned, San Antonio have some experienced players with a lot of games under their belt. So these are the opportunities these kids have where they can really step up their experience and step up their game. And another great way to showcase themselves to the first team squad.
Head coach Ezra Hendrickson, always willing to put in a lot of youth, show these players, give them an opportunity to show what they can do for the Sounders organization. And it's always a really exciting time for both the players and the fans to get to take a look at some of the stars of the future. On the flip side, San Antonio FC bring in a lot of experience. what can we see that's going to be different from the start of both these sides? Let's talk about the very first few minutes of the game.
Well, San Antonio, first game, inaugural season, they're going to have a huge amount of energy. You could see it in behind, during warm-ups, and I think it's one of those games where they're going to come in at 100 miles an hour.
And we'll break here as we go to the national anthem.
Sing our national anthem.
San Antonio making their debut tonight here at Starfire Stadium in Tukwila, Washington. Get a good look at that right there. Some folks making the trip all the way across half the country from Texas. Good for them. Great to see. We saw a Sacramento contingent here just over a week ago that occupied that very same spot. But wonderful to see some fans here getting excited about a new franchise in the country, and it's just great to see soccer, kind of start to build its way up around here.
I agree. When you think about where the USL was and where they are today, 2019, San Antonio coming in January 7th with a new franchise. Not much time to put together a squad, but when you got someone like Darren Powell, who's had experience at the collegiate level, and obviously through to the pro academies at Orlando City, he's the type of guy that has that network, especially on the East Coast, to pull those players through.
And we'll take a look at the lineups here for both sides. Seattle Sounders 2, as we mentioned, Tyler Miller is going to step in goal here for Charlie Lyon. Right back will be O'Neal Fisher in place of Devin Fisher. And Toby John Hope and Tony Alfaro center backs. And on the left is Nicholas Hines. In the midfield for Sounders 2, Mark Oyong. And Nathan Sturgis returns after his match with them, Sacramento Republic. Zach Mathers also in the midfield there. And up top, Victor Mansoret, back from U.S. Under-20 national team duty. He played on Wednesday against Arizona United. And as we mentioned before, Myron Samuel and Andy Craven finishes it on top for Sounders 2. On the San Antonio side, Josh Ford, as people know around here for the Seattle Sounders, spent 4 years here. Josh Ford in goal for San Antonio. Milton Palacios, Stephen McCarthy, Sam McBride, and Bobby Mosley on loan from Stoke City here in the back line. And into the midfield is Michael Reed, Rafa Castillo, Carlos Alvarez. Alvarez, the first player that Darren Powell picked up. And up top for them, Manolo Sanchez, Greg Cochran, and the aforementioned Jason Johnson. So we're just about to get ready underway here, folks, in Tukwila. Danny, you were mentioning kind of the leagues, people getting excited, the growth of the sport, and how this kind of all ties in here to S2.
It does, and Starfire is such a great environment for this, right? When the USL kind of had their final season in 2008, they brought it back to Starfire, packed houses, lots of excitement, lots of energy. And it's a great place to come when you try to introduce a kid to soccer, right? It's not as daunting as, the big stadium sometimes. For a parent who's going to bring a couple of kids to the game, they can bring them here, and they have a great experience. It's very family friendly, and people really enjoy these games.
And you get a chance, such an intimate look, like you mentioned, not in a giant stadium. It's some of these guys who are going to be playing in the Major League Soccer for the next couple of years or for a very long time. Wonderful to see.
This is a great platform. We'll talk about this, throughout the evening, but the S2 platform is a great opportunity for them to not just showcase and get minutes and improve their own game as individuals, but bind together as a team, and then obviously showcase themselves to a greater audience, whether it's people in the crowd or coaches in the stands.
And we are about ready to get underway here. Our referees, Chippewa Street there in the middle, Logan Griffiths, Connor Hazelwood, are the ARs, and Manuel Soledad is the fourth official as Sounders 2 about to kick off their third game of the 2016 season. And congratulations to San Antonio FC, the very first match in their franchise history as we are underway here at Starfire Stadium in Tukwila, Washington. Aaron Heinzen with you, Danny Jackson as well. Looking forward to a great night of soccer. We'll see Mansoure on it. S2 looking positive so far. There's Mark Olong, Cameroonian. Young man, 18 years old. Long ball over the top in search of Craven. It's going to be headed away by Bobby Mosley. Spent time in Birmingham City, Mosley. Mansoure tries to put it in. Cleared away. And first few touches from San Antonio. Mathers breaks it up. Goes to Olong. Looking for Sturgis, who's captaining tonight for S2. There's Samuel. His first touch for S2. Finds Nick Hines on the right. Hines, but the cross is in, and it's headed away. San Antonio will have it. Get their first few touches. Rather important, especially with your very first game of the very first franchise. Not that these guys are inexperienced by any means, but certainly new uniform, new place, and new group of players.
Well, they want to get off to a good start. You know, the first 15 minutes in a soccer game, as we all know, is a bit of a cliche. You have to start strong, but you know, both teams, S2 having kind of a run of games without a win, and certainly San Antonio with their first game of the season and the first game as a franchise, they want to come out strong and really start off. You know, first 50 minutes, come out strong and try and nick that goal.
And we talked about their preseason just a little bit, just enough to get their confidence going. They didn't play anybody too difficult, or not to mention that you know, they're still putting a lot of players together, bringing things in. So this will be their biggest challenge so far. 17
goals, 4 against in preseason. You've had a strong preseason, a good showing, gets confidence. At the end of the day, preseason is all about pulling these players together and getting some confidence.
And here is Mosley again. Johnson. Big man, number 18 to Alvarez. And it's through. Johnson's just gotten in the inside of Hins. It's Johnson! And just like that, San Antonio have opened up the scoring. Jason Johnson, first goal in franchise history. Don't get to say that every day, and the folks that traveled up from Texas are going wild already. Just the third minute here at Starfire Stadium. And just gets inside of Nick Hines there, and there's no stopping the big man. Slots it just past Tyler Miller. 1-0 San Antonio.
Well, disappointing. Obviously, we just mentioned, you know, first 15 minutes, you know, it's important for both sides in the way that they're starting the game, and certainly the way they're coming into this game. Obviously, not a better start for San Antonio, and certainly you can't ask for a worse start for S2.
Certainly a difficult start here. As I say, that is O'Neill Fisher on the right. Excuse me. Said it was Hines, but Fisher just caught out there by Johnson. Goal kind of came from nowhere.
You know, and the challenge is when you play these different back fours, your back four should always be your kind of foundation, and it's always about getting used to players around you. You know, when a player checks into the ball, the key is to kind of close up those gaps, and when the ball kind of skids through and there's a huge gap, it became pretty easy for them to kind of to cut through. And Jason Johnson, who we talked about before the game, you know, strong, powerful, good finisher, you know, puts it away.
Former Chicago fireman, Johnson. And as we mentioned before, 5 goals and 1 assist in the preseason. San Antonio getting into the groove a little bit now. Mathers looking to chase it down. Here they are again. It's a good little 1-2. Sturgis breaks it up. Miller clears. Here's Alvarez.
Well, that would certainly make San Antonio's nerves go away. You know, it'll settle them down a little bit. Now it's going to really force S2 to get on the front foot, pressure higher up the field, and try and get something back pretty quickly.
Bobby Mosley with some space. He'll cut it inside. Now plays it out wide to Cochran. Cochran going at Fisher, puts it across, and Toby sends it out of bounds for the game's first corner kick. We were talking before, Danny, before the game started, about the size of some of the San Antonio players. Got some height in there, especially in big Stephen McCarthy. Spent 2015 playing in Finland. Let's see if he goes into the box. Just 4 right now.
In a field like this, you know, it's tight and it's short. These set pieces become very dangerous.
Lots of power, lots of pace. We'll see it's going to be taken by Alvarez. He whips it in, it's low. Mathers knocks it away. Bobby Mosley can't hang on to it. Sturgis. Can he set off Myron Samuel? Here he goes. Myron Samuel on the left. puts it on his right foot. Nice little pass from Mansoray. Mansoray's away. Cochran chasing, gets the tackle, but S2, nice little counterattack for a corner of their own.
Well, that's the great thing about Starfire Sports. You know, you can defend and you can attack extremely quickly and get down the other side of the field. And obviously pushing a corner, and again, set pieces become more and more important in today's game, and certainly the S2 have an opportunity to capitalize on this one.
So important to get something right back in it for S2. Had some struggles, scoring so far this year. Haven't got the back of the net yet, but still early. Plenty of opportunities. 6th minute here. Hines in the far post. Mathers chests it down. Olong. O'Neal Fisher. Back to Nick Hines. Off of Craven. Can't be kept. A little bit of foul there from Mansoray.
When you think about, you know, a lack of goals, you know, the whole idea about 4-3-3 is kind of some element of offense, but that's all about kind of getting used to a new formation, especially when you're trying to mirror what the first team's trying to do with S2. And the idea is, you know, you can't leave these huge gaps. We've seen it with the goal, and the problem with 4-3-3 is it gives those three up front a mentality that, you know, maybe I attack, maybe I don't have to defend as much. Very different than a 4-2-3-1, which gives a kind of the instant thought process about defending.
Loose ball here now, caught by Mansoray. Samuel under pressure, holds on to it. Now it's back to the young man, Toby. He's played every single minute so far in this 2016 season with S2. U18 Academy product. Toby Jono looks to go over the top, but caught by Cochran. There's big Johnson heading in all the way back to Tyler Miller. Huge throw from Miller. Does well to find Nick Hines on the left side. Mansoray. Mansoray tries to play it long there from Fisher, but again, it's cut out by Cochran. He'll drop it to McCarthy. We've talked about the last couple of games with Wade Weber, just kind of talking about some of the possession things S2 have had. We see Mansoray there. He's turned, tries to play the long ball when maybe he had a little more time to go. Has that kind of come with experience as players go, or is that just early game
I think
jitters?
It's decision making, you know, and in the end of the day, you know, for me, playing in a game,
Ball's whipped in there, but
it's
can't get
all
on for
about
Alvarez.
getting rhythm and not try to extend yourself too early. Get touch to the ball, understand the environment, get an understanding of the team you're playing against and certainly the opponent you're playing against, and don't try and complicate things. Keep the ball. The key about the first 50 minutes, again, is getting a kind of a placeholder in the game, getting control of the game, and finding your own game so you can assist and help the team.
S2 looking for their own game still. We've seen moments of them where they've put passes together for good stretches, 4 or 5 minutes, lots of possession, but just that final ball, maybe that final decision hasn't quite come their way yet.
And if you can't always go forward, you can't always go back, right? And it's an obvious statement, but I think it's keeping possession and finding those gaps at the right time, and then the critical piece is making the right decision when that opportunity arises.
Here's Sturgis, one of the veterans on the field. Nathan Sturgis. Saw him in the opening game against Sacramento Republic. He was with the Dynamo last year. May know one or two of these guys on the field for San Antonio.
I think it's important having players like Sturgis on the field. Experience, you know, they can get hold of the game now and kind of settle the team down, get them back into a rhythm after conceding such an early goal.
Olong. Nick Hines. Mansoray reaching for it, just can't get it. It's going to bounce to Michael Reed in the middle. Sounders 2 have won it back. Here's Mansoray off Samuel. Mathers. It's broken up. Mathers can't get to it. It's a hard tackle from Alfaro, and it bounces over Toby, and Johnson's away. Johnson with time and space cuts it around Miller, and that is the second goal there for Jason Johnson. Again, Sounders 2 just comes out of almost nothing, really. Unfortunate for S2. Great finish, though, from Jason Johnson, and the score is now San Antonio 2, Sounders 2-0. 10th minute there. Just the collision in after that tackle from Alfaro.
And it comes down to individual mistakes again, unfortunately. You know, kind of missed tackle, ball bounces, you know, the wrong way for the Sounders. You know, kick up on the turf, and Toby, unfortunately, doesn't quite read that bounce, and then they get through. And again, we talked about Johnson. the beginning of the game, he's a strong, powerful player, and he's also got great composure, per that second goal.
He's got to be brimming with confidence at this point. 2 goals in 10 minutes for Jason Johnson. Sounders 2 find themselves down 2-0. Still plenty of time, though. That is the good news, if there is a silver lining to this. They had a few moments of possession, too. Here's Mansoray looking for O'Neal Fisher. He gets out of that tackle. Fisher still working. Cochran defending. Fisher gets it away. That's the first touch for Josh Ford.
Well, it's good to see Fisher get up the field. I mean, one of the things players and coaches like to see is the offensive fullbacks getting forward, and it's not just sitting in a back four flat. They have to get involved in the game, and if an O'Neal Fisher, especially in a 4-3-3, can get forward, as well as Nick Hines, it provides a different balance to the team.
Both Fisher and Hines, plenty of pace out of both of them. Here is Hines. Go to Olong. Andy Craven. Craven a big part of S2 last year before he was injured as well. North Carolina product, just like yourself, Danny.
It's good to see a UNC boy come up the West Coast like me, and it's nice to see a Mathers, a Duke player. UNC Duke players playing on the same team. It's good to see.
Many rivalries from back in the day, many memories.
Absolutely, yes. 7 miles apart. Big rivalries in ACC soccer for sure.
Bobby Mosley on the ball. Throw in here for San Antonio. He's got a good throw over the top. Toby wrestling with Johnson, wins out this time. Fisher does well to keep it in. He does keep possession. Now Sturgis. It's going to bounce all the way to Samuel. Knotted down. Samuel looks like he took a touch there, and the referee's going to stop the game.
Well, and certainly probably the right call. The advantage wasn't really happening, but again, Mansoray getting the ball, flicking with the back heel of his foot. Is that the right decision to make? Get the ball down, control it, lay it off, keep possession, gain some control, gain some confidence, and then try those things in the right areas of the field. Forwards should always take chances, but there's always a time to play and sometimes a time to take those chances.
Long ball over the top. A little bit of confusion between McCarthy and Ford. McCarthy heads it away. Here's Cochran. He'll just knock it forward. Olong tries to settle it, but cannot. Loses out. Alvarez has it now. Alvarez still going after the slide from Toby. Alfaro is there. Good strong tackle from him. Fisher's got it back, picks it up. Sturgis.
And a good tackle from Alfaro. He's the kind of player who's got a little bit more experience than Toby next to him. He's the kind of player who's going to give him, the composure and the communication to put Toby back into a position. He made a mistake, but hey, forget about it, move on. And a good example of a more experienced player, still young, but making a good tackle to cut out that ball.
Here is Fisher on the right. And as a center back yourself, Danny, how long did it take typically to develop that kind of relationship with your partners? We see Olong switch it over to Alfaro.
It's a tough situation. You practice all week, for that kind of, who's going to step, who's not, how you shift, how you close gaps when balls and players check in. And it is about playing together and understanding each other. Obviously, the older you get, the more experience you get, the quicker that relationship can develop and the quicker you can read certain situations. And again, it's just time on the field.
O'Neal Fisher now, left foot ball over the top for Samuel. It catches his arm. Good darting run, though, from O'Neal Fisher.
And this, again, is where, leadership, whether it's from the sidelines and certainly from the Sturgis in the middle of the field, is, again, just kind of grab the team back, get reorganized, and pick up at a pattern of play and some control of the ball to really build the confidence and move forward. And I think you said there's plenty of time on the clock. You're losing 2 goals in the first 10 minutes is never a great thing. But the good thing is youthful exuberance. They need to come out, they need to prove individually that they belong on that field and also as a team.
We mentioned before in the pregame how quickly both teams were going to start, and we saw, like you mentioned, some unfortunate things for S2. They just when they had possession as well, but they caught up with a couple of individual mistakes, find themselves down 2-0 here in Tukwila Starfire Sports Stadium to a San Antonio team in their very first game in the history of the franchise. Toby's going to clear this one away after some possession. Header won there by Sam McBride. Goes back to Fisher. He goes along with it. Mathers pushing forward, trying to pressure McCarthy. Header away by Mosley.
And and Fisher knocking the ball out, getting kind of rid of that pressure, that's not a bad ball to play. I mean, in Starfire Sports, the field is a little shorter and a little bit more compact, so balls over the top become a little bit more difficult to actually connect that pass. But the thing about that long ball is it allows the defense to push up, it allows the midfielders to shift up, and then the key is the second ball. You know, defender goes up, wins the ball. There's no instant access to that ball because we're not squeezing up and picking up those second balls off the turf.
That's certainly something S2 need to do. More players in the attacking area, hopefully creating more chances. Good ball through there. Run onto it, but Tyler Miller is going to scoop it up safely. Throws it out quickly to Myron Samuel. Good run by Manolo Sanchez over there on the right. Long ball here for Craven. Gets inside of Mosley. Craven still going. Good defensive work from McCarthy. Ford will roll it out to Mosley. On loan from Stoke City in the English Premier League. Sam McBride back to Ford. Craven chasing it down. Ford's going to go long. And that ball from Olong is just cut out by Castillo.
And that's a good example of what's happened the first 15, 60 minutes is the balls on the tip have not been clean. Possession's been given away too cheaply. And then when you do try to get a rhythm and you give the ball away cheaply, push on the back foot, and then it all goes away. So again, it's just making the simple passes, connecting them, and again, picking up confidence. You don't always have to go forward. You can certainly keep possession by going backwards as well. And the Sounders need to find that rhythm, find that control in the game.
That's certainly been a theme for the first few S2 games. Just that possession and that final decision making, but something they'll continue to work on here. Alfaro. Got options ahead of him. Alfaro still going. Looks for Mathers. McCarthy steps in. Mathers fighting for it. San Antonio ball with Johnson. Johnson still going. Alfaro's won it back. Has he kept it? He has indeed. Alfaro's done very well. Just as I say that, San Antonio ball coming the other way. Here's Cochran. He's got Mosley to his left. He'll play it out there. Cochran making the run through. Mosley still on the ball. One-on-one against Fisher. Mosley can't keep it. Fisher does well.
Good defending by O'Neill, you know, pushes him to the corner and does what you do. I mean, fortunately, you know, looks like the referee, well, it's a throw-in, but again, kind of 50-50 call right there. Could have been a foul, and again, it kind of all that good defensive work could get pushed aside by a silly foul, but unfortunately for S2, referee doesn't call it.
Fisher's going to throw here as Mosley gets back. And for Olong, skips over him. San Antonio looking to settle, can't. It's going to be another throw for S2. Good crowd here on hand for Sounders 2. All looking to see what they can produce tonight. Another beautiful evening here in the Puget Sound area. As spring becomes more and more evident, here's Mansoray. And just can't settle it, goes out of bounds.
And now the key is, as the ball gets pushed further up the field, the key now is for the Sounders to step up and start exerting a bit more pressure further up the field, because they have the offensive firepower. If they do pick up those balls, be a little bit closer to goal and start to kind of put some pressure on the goalkeeper.
Long ball from San Antonio to clear. S2 have it back again. Fisher. Got Mathers making a run, looking for him. Nice touch from Mansoray to win it down. Victor Mansoray, Craven. Sturgis, Mathers. This is better from S2. Here's Olong going forward. It's going to be cleared away, though, by Palacios.
And a better combination of passes, you know, outside the 18-yard box. Fortunately, couldn't get that final shot off. And but again, the Sounders and S2 need to find a way to kind of connect those passes, make it simple, and then the openings will show up.
Here's Sturgis on the ball. Alvarez gets a piece of it, and it's gone out of bounds. It's going to be an S2 throw. Just that, put in that extra work rate like you were talking about, Danny. Just keep working and working. Eventually, it's going to come. Something's going to break through for them. They can't possibly, it's not going to go all season, or even close to that. But just one of those things the players have to keep getting used to each other, keep the passes, keep the creativity going, and something will be created.
And I agree. I mean, in the end of the day, when you're struggling to get results, you have to go back to the simple things. And that's good work rate, good simple passing, keep control, manage your own game, and then try to contribute as you go through. And I think S2 need to find a way now to get some rhythm, get some confidence. There's still time on the clock to get those 2 goals, and you can see how quickly it can happen. We got forwards like Samuel, as we mentioned before the game, Mansouré, who have that physical dominance up front, very similar to a Johnson. They need to have the confidence to go ahead and start executing on these plays.
Fisher's got it back. Lots of ball over here on the Sounders' right-hand side. Going to get switched out, though, through Tony Alfaro. Long. Just escapes Johnson again. He was bearing down on him. Sturgis. Good look for Mathers. Mathers in space, going at the back line of San Antonio. He's got Mansouré to his right. Mathers with a shot. And that's the first real direct hit we've seen on frame for S2, and it was a good one from Zach Mathers.
Good confident strike. He finds that seam between the defense and the midfield, picks it up, and then actually has some confidence to run, beat the first man, takes a shot with his left foot. And unfortunately for S2, kind of Josh Ford, ex-Sounder, kind of picks it up. But again, good opportunity for the Sounders to really kind of put their stamp on the game.
On the other end here, Castillo finds Cochran, who now's got Mosley. Mosley whips it in, headed away by Toby. Andy Craven. Mathers seems to be growing in confidence. Nick Hines. One more possession here from S2. Tony Alfaro looking for Craven over the top. Mosley's there. Heads it away. Clears it down the field for an S2 throw-in.
So we talked about those long balls. Alfaro might not connect that first pass, but it's the second ball, the second pass, allowing the defense in the midfield to shift up, get a little bit closer to the goal, and then pick up those second balls. In this case, throwing further up the field.
Craven was almost on top of it. 5 goals, 5 assists, and 14 appearances last year for Andy Craven before he went down injured. Had a couple appearances as well with Seattle Sounders himself.
Yeah, he's a player that has the ability. He's got the presence, he's got the size, he's got the work ethic and the energy. And like we said, as a young kid coming in, getting used to the pro environment, he's been here now for a good amount of time, enough time to understand how this all works. Now it's putting that execution and that level of play onto the field to allow him to rise up through the ranks of the Sounders organization.
Here's Johnson again, working on Toby. Johnson will win it down, does very, very well. Finds Cochran on the left-hand side. Fisher goes in on the tackle with Cochran, and his cross misses everyone. Nick Hines bringing it out on the left side.
This is a great opportunity for a player like Tony Alfaro to really kind of compete against a player like a Johnson who's big and strong, the type of physical presence you can see in the MLS. And if Alfaro wants to continue to kind of accelerate his growth and his ability to get into that first team, when we look at the players, and the injuries that the Sounders have had, especially in central defense this year already, with Brad Evans going down and Torres still being out, he's a player that has the ability to go through, but he's going to be able to have to physically compete with a player like Johnson and not get pushed around.
O'Neal Fisher. Sounders pressing forward here against San Antonio. Fisher whips the ball in, skips past everyone, finds Samuel on the far side. Samuel looked like he was looking for Craven on that far post. It's cut out. Nice work by Olong with a long shot. We saw that a couple times from him on Wednesday. As Ford kept it in. He has. USLsoccer.com. Keep up to date with the USL all season long by visiting the new USLsoccer.com for everything you need to know about the USL and its 29 teams. Forward first touch from McCarthy, and he has to knock it away. Nick Hines, left-footed ball sent in, got cut out. Samuel. Showing some of the speed and skill Samuel can possess. Sturgis. San Antonio's won it back. Here's Nick Hines again. Lots of space for the young man. Nick Hines going right at Palacios. Can he get around him? He gets the ball in. Nice work from the left back, Nick Hines, on the corner for S2.
You know, much better by Hines. A few minutes or a few seconds ago, he tried to whip a ball in from about 30 yards in. You've got two big players, two central defenders in McCarthy and McBride, who are really going to cut those out easily. O'Neal Fisher did a similar thing a few minutes ago. He tried to whip a ball in from 30, 40 yards out. You have to attack that last man, try to get close to the end line. That will put these big players on their back foot.
Zach Mathers putting it in. No one's around it, and just be headed away easily by Michael Reed. Marco Long cleans it up, and here comes Fisher. Plenty of players in the box. Fisher just bangs it off Cochran. Olong now looking the far post for Mathers. Headed away by Palacios, and a bit of collision between him and Mathers. Palacios is down. And that's going to be a free kick for San Antonio.
You know, Mathers has got more and more into the game, and it's been good to see. He's finding those pockets of space. He's competing like he did there to go up for the ball aerially when it's maybe 5'11", not the biggest guy in the world, but he's able to compete. And I think when one or two players start to find some space, start to do positive things, that energy pushes through to the rest of the team. And I think that's going to help. Mathers getting in the game, Sturgis getting his foot on the ball, Hines going 1v1 on the left-hand side, try to get across, gets a corner kick. These are all pieces of the puzzle that Ezra has to really kind of continue to build through the first half, get them in at halftime, and then really calibrate for the second half and try and nick those goals to get back into this game.
Yeah, in the first two games for S2, we saw Mathers sitting there deeper, not in that attacking area, attacking midfield spot. Now, at the very end of the Arizona United game, he started to show some of that ability. Now tonight, getting the start in the attacking midfield role.
Yeah, no, I think now it's getting Samuel and players like that into the game. You know, we talked about him being a pretty dynamic impact player. He's a player that needs to find his game, find the game. If he's not getting it on the outside, you know, go and find the ball, maybe shift and switch with Victor a little bit, try to find those pockets of space and try to use his speed in areas of the field that could be dangerous for S2.
Sturgis on the ball now for S2. 27th minute. Score here at Starfire Stadium, San Antonio 2, Sounders 2-0. 2 goals in the first 10 minutes of the game from Jason Johnson. Here's Fisher. Gonna go over the top. One down by Fisher, excuse me, that was Toby that hit that. Fisher can't get onto it, gonna be a goal kick.
Again, good ball going down the line, a bit of a flat ball in the end of the day, but Fisher getting up and down that line. It's good to see our outside backs pushing on, continuing to push on, put pressure further at the field. That allows the forward three to get a bit more compact, get connected a little bit closer to each other, and then when the ball gets to them in those pockets of space with Mathers and Victor and Samuel, is to kind of connect those passes and in areas of the field that are going to be dangerous and get shots on goal.
Long up for the header there. It's going to go out of bounds. Throw in for San Antonio. On the right-hand side. Palacios is going to stroll up to take it. Well, you mentioned Darren Powell, head coach here at San Antonio. He's got to be just thrilled how his team has started here. The first competitive game ever. Said he came from North Carolina, got right down to Texas, and started making phone calls, putting this team together. Got Carlos Alvarez and McCarthy and Josh Ford.
He has to be happy with how all the lines of play are working through. I mean, offensively scoring 2 goals, obvious statement, you know, be happy with that. But defensively, you know, the back four is looking strong. Josh Ford really only had to make 1 save of any note. And it's been good all the way through. They've picked up loose balls and the Sounders have given the ball away cheaply, and they're able to capitalize on those chances, whether it's forward pressure with goals or corner kicks such as this situation.
Castillo on the ball. 5 guys for San Antonio in the box. The entire S2 team. Ball whipped in by Castillo. Easily handed though by Miller. And a chance for a breakaway here for S2. Back Victor Mansoret at the very top. He's got Palacios around him. Ball goes both of them. Mansoret has it knocked away by Palacios. Johnson, a never-present man in between the 2 center backs there, just waiting to clean up anything. Sturgis here on the right side, looking for Mathers. There's Toby, he'll go all the way back to Miller. Just some of those moments there we've talked about, Danny, that ball in. Perhaps maybe just not the right time to play it with so many San Antonio players around. Not a lot of space in there. We see a long ball over the top. McCarthy heads it. And Mansoret holds it up well for S2. Hines. Mansoret again, still going, Victor Mansoret. Marco Long. S2 getting some combinations going. Sturgis changes it over to Fisher. Fisher on the right side, one-on-one. Sturgis again. S2 still probing. Marco Long. Samuel. Now Palacios on his back, but holds it up. Alfaro. Now over the top looking for Mansoret. It's headed away by McCarthy. Mathers cleans it up. Samuel again looking for Craven this time. Ball bouncing around, no one with it yet. It's good pressure here from S2 so far.
Good patience. You know, when the ball's not able to be played in, they can start again, and you know, they get good possession here, and they have to find those openings. But again, patience is the key.
San Antonio staying organized. Toby. Sturgis, he's just knocked over there by Michael Reed. Olong looking to take it quickly.
Much more positive from S2. The ability to kind of push through, keep possession, get a free kick in a relatively dangerous position. But again, it all comes from the ability to control the ball, control the rhythm of the game, and push through.
Just take a look at the replay there real quick. Nothing dangerous, just a foul and an opportunity here for Mathers on one side, Nick Hines on the other. Right and a left option. Two in the wall for San Antonio. A lot of Sounders gathered at the far post. Craven going near. Ball whipped in by Mathers, but not a lot of height on it. It's easily cleared away. Back to Toby. He's looking for Fisher. Fisher keeps it in. Here's Mathers against Reed. Reed wins the header. Alvarez. He's got Sturgis all over him. Alvarez does well to keep it. And Samuel gets it back. Mathers working there with Craven, and it's cleared away. Nice idea from Andy Craven. Cleared away by Sam McBride. Follow at USL on Twitter to keep up with all of the live action during the 2016 USL season. It's Twitter. We'll see Craven fighting for it. And now San Antonio clears away, and here's Johnson. Big Johnson fighting with Toby. Toby does well to take it off him. Not the best pass from Toby. San Antonio have it back, but good defending from the young man. What an experience he's getting right now as an academy player.
No, I think this is what it's all about for S2. You know, giving these players minutes on the field against strong competition. It's experience they really can't find anywhere else.
Ball whipped in here. Johnson can't get to it. Headed away by Alfaro. Now Samuel has a chance to break away. Looks for Mansoret, but McCarthy gets a foot on it. Castillo slows it down for San Antonio. He's still got Samuel on his back. Now he gets it all the way back to Stephen McCarthy.
And the key is when a player like Johnson is like fighting for that ball, the second central defender, in this case Alfaro, has to come over and get a little bit closer. You can't guarantee that, you know, Toby's going to win the ball, going to push through. So you have to think worst case scenario as a central defender, and the key is then is to kind of double up 2 versus 1 to prevent a player like Johnson getting through.
Well, certainly winning is what S2 want to do. A great ball there by Sturgis in for Craven. He can't keep a shot on target. Good effort from Andy Craven popping up in there.
I think final ball in the first 33, 34 minutes has been relatively poor for S2, but that was a great example of the ball that came in, the right angle, good first touch. Unfortunately on his back foot, kind of hits it high and wide. But again, it's better to get further up the field, more danger. The final ball has not been great, but that's a good example of a ball that was played in with some decent pace, and Andy Craven was in a good position to pick that up.
Craven, active player. Loves to dart in between. Find those little pockets, can score goals, we certainly know that. See Marco Long win that header. And it looks like it might be a foul here from Olong. And it is going to be the first card of the game. Cameroonian youngster goes in the books here in the 35th minute. Just catching Alvarez. You get to see the ball slip by him there. Huh?
Yeah,
Takes
just
a
missed
kick out.
time. Nothing cynical from that particular foul. I think he saw the ball got nicked past and tried to pull his foot away a little bit too late. But again, getting his foot stuck in as a central midfield player is part of the game. And to kind of influence the game by your physical presence is really part of playing central midfield.
Mark O'Jones.
Castillo, the lone man, standing over this for San Antonio. 5 on the top. Now Cochran sneaking around the back post there as well. Here's Castillo. Ball whipped in. Tyler Miller does well to punch it away.
Well played by Tyler. You know, we talked about kind of the mistake that he made down at RSL to cause that second goal that put another L on the board for the Sounders. But comes out here, ball gets whipped in, comes out with force, punches away. Foul gets called, but again, a much better decision by Tyler to come out with force, punch that ball away, and then obviously kind of forcing the foul.
Certainly not an easy thing to do as a goalkeeper. A whole group of people coming right at you. You got to focus on the ball. You can be vulnerable with your hands up.
You know, I always said as defender, I don't care if you punch me in the head. As long as that ball is 30 yards away from goal, it doesn't matter. As long as they come in, make the right decision, come out with force. At the end of the day, you know, push people out of the way, win that ball, and get it out of the goal.
And that could certainly happen at all levels. We've seen it. Those of you that follow the game, keepers that go out and miss that, and that's almost a certain goal from time to time.
Yeah, unfortunately for a goalkeeper, you make a mistake, you know, often kind of is written as a goal. And, you know, that's the nature of the position, unfortunately.
Meanwhile, down on the other ends, S2 with a chance here. Hines on one side, Fisher on the other. 2 outside backs. There's Fisher stepping over it. Hines going near post. Ford has to punch it away. Does well. Castillo will clear. Along to clean it up. Alfaro back to Miller.
Well, now the game's settled down, you really can see a little more confidence kind of creeping into S2's play. They're keeping the ball a little bit better. Everything's a little bit cleaner. They're making better decisions, not forcing the ball forward every single play, especially when you can see 2 quick goals. That impetus and that kind of that thought process and that anxiety comes in. You want to force the ball forward, try and get that first goal. But again, it's just settling into a rhythm, keeping the ball, and the opportunities will present themselves.
Good decision there by the veteran Sturgis to see him pull out of pressure, play it the other way. Here's Olong. S2 keep the ball. Alfaro. Myron Samuel picking it up. Again, Alfaro for Mansoray. Craven. Olong looking on the far side for Fisher. Mosley's there. Good defending from Bobby Mosley. Now here comes San Antonio down the other way. It's going through the big man, Manolo Sanchez, cleared away by Toby. Gonna be a throw in for San Antonio. Nike's a proud partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike Soccer information. Castillo on the ball. Keep it. It's picked up by Samuel this time in the forward position for S2. Now Zach Mathers. McBride will see it out of bounds. Good pressure from S2.
Much better from S2. We've seen San Antonio when the ball gets pushed forward, they've squeezed up as a compact unit to kind of pressure the ball further up the field. The S2 team has really now done a better job when the ball gets pushed forward, is squeezing up as a unit, winning the ball in better positions, and then attacking from there.
Sturgis on the ball, just can't keep it. Cochran picks it up. Maybe a push on the back from O'Neal Fisher. And referee Chapalo Street blows the whistle. '40th minute here. Mosley over the ball. San Antonio 2, Sounders 2-0. Mosley will whip it in, headed away by Hines. Castillo picks it up. Hines gets it back. Samuel, chance to break away, and he does. Myron Samuel finds Mansoray. Good one touch from him. Craven. Mathers on it. Great save from Ford. It's one of the best chances we've seen on the last 3 games for S2 all season long. Great work from S2.
Great work, win the ball, come through, grid combination, top of the box, good shot, and again a great save. Good one-handed save, strong to his right by Josh Ford.
And you gotta love the quick thinking between Craven and Mansoray, just keeping the ball moving. Good shot by Mathers and a great reaction save from Josh Ford. Another corner kick here for S2. Gonna be Nick Hines on the ball. Referee's gonna halt it for a moment. Some pushing and shoving.
In this day and age, it happens all the time, right? You know, whether the referee's going to call it or not, there's always going to be pulling and pushing. It's just the nature of the game because half a yard is all that you need to try and get a chance on goal.
Hines chooses to go short here with Fisher. Back to Hines, plenty of time for him. Nick Hines whips it in. It's headed away by San Antonio. Olong's got it. Toby. Back to Fisher with space. O'Neal Fisher. Good ball whipped in. Zach Mathers. It's going to go way over the top, but certainly much better from S2 right now.
Yeah, again, winning the second ball, coming out, you know, kind of repurposing the ball to the right-hand side, and again, Fisher plays across from the outside that maybe, you know, could have done a little bit better with. You know, the angle itself is tough. You know, Mathers kind of arching his body to try and get the header on goal from 16 yards. Realistically, he's not going to score from there. So again, how do you find yourself in a better position? You have to attack 1 versus 1, get yourself in a better position to cross, or do you feed it back and then recirculate the ball to the other side of the field?
.42 minute here. Starfire Stadium. San Antonio in a dream position. Their first game ever as a franchise on the road. They start their season on April 9th down there in Texas. Exciting opportunity for them. Fisher. Andy Craven. Sturgis, lots of possession this last 20 minutes of this half for S2. Still no goals, but been some good stuff. Castillo, San Antonio has it back. There's Cochran.
It's been impressive what San Antonio have done. You know, when they press at the field, they do stay connected. They're not dropping off too deep, and you know there is space in behind for S2. And I think in the second half, you know, Ezra really needs to kind of look at the things that have worked. It's knocking the ball over the top. It's not necessarily winning that first ball, but maybe winning the second ball, and then it kind of spreads out the San Antonio team. You start playing a couple long balls. It drops the back 4, back 5-10 yards. It gives the players in the middle of the field, like a Mathers now, finding more space in those pockets. And then he has the ability then to connect with the forwards then, because again, back 4 drops off, there's more space in the middle of the field.
Here's Johnson, the goal scorer. Both goals. Now Alvarez. Got Olong behind him. Alvarez finds Cochran on the left. Mosley. He'll whip it in on his left foot, but no one challenging. Easy one for Tyler Miller. USL on YouTube. All USL matches are available live, free, and in HD on YouTube. Follow the action on the USL YouTube channel.
And S2 still need to be aware of San Antonio's threat on the counter-attack. You know, they're defending in nice pockets of lines and nice and compact, but when they win the ball, they spread out quickly and they attack with speed. So as S2 have more and more patience, more and more confidence to keep the ball, those loose balls get picked up very quickly by San Antonio, and they're capitalizing on it and pushing through quickly with a couple of incisive passes.
And we certainly saw that on their second goal as well. They do have some speed. Manolo Sanchez on the right here. Cochran's fast. Bobby Mosley, Alvarez. There's a foul whistled here.
And for a team that, they've played, obviously we talked about kind of a number of preseason games, a lot of goals, not many goals against, 17 goals for, 4 goals against. For their first game, the way that they've looked so connected and so as one, it's been impressive. And, I think a lot of, kudos needs to go to the coach, Darren Powell. He's put together a team of players who are now really bedding in together very, very quickly.
And he certainly found them in certain areas of the country where he's coached, Elon University. There's even a banner, over there of Elon. Some of these guys have played with him there, and Orlando City. But done a nice job.
Yeah, at the end of the day, a coach wants to have players who they know going to be in the trenches with him. Players they can trust, especially when you start to build a franchise. I mean, look what Sigi Schmidt did in the first few years. He built players and built a squad of players he knew. Your Tyrone Marshalls, people like that who'd been in the trenches with him before in previous teams and previous occasions. Brings Chad Marshall in from Columbus, and these are the players that he wants to build some kind of foundation around. Same thing with Darren Powell. He wants to put players out there he knows, he trusts, and knows they're going to put a good line of work into the team and kind of help that team kind of progress through.
First little bit of confusion we've seen back there from San Antonio. Foul called on Mathers. Chippewa Streets recounting some of the fouls here for Mathers.
Well, it looks a little worse, in slow motion. It looked a little bit less than in full play, and really nothing to it. More the fall on the surface on the AstroTurf than it was the impact from the collision.
Mosley still down, now to his feet. Trainer is on.
I think he needs to go off here. Yeah, trainer comes on, comes off.
Certainly part of the rules.
San Antonio will be too perturbed by that situation. The clock ticks down to halftime. For both teams, getting into halftime, recalibrating what they want to do, especially for S2 now, try to come up with a game plan for the second half to try and get back into this game.
Mosley still off the field. Here's Cochran. He whips it in. It's a good long ball. Alfaro heads it away. And that is going to conclude the first half of action here at Starfire Stadium. Score at the end of the half. San Antonio 2, Seattle Sounders 2-0. Plenty more of action here to come in Tukwila, Washington. Sounders 2, as you mentioned, Danny, going into halftime, maybe recalibrating things. They had some good possession. They had some good passes, good connections, but nothing that led to any goals. But obviously we'll see what they come up with here in the second half.
Important 50 minutes for Ezra. Figure out what's going to work, what's worked in the first half. I think balls over the top. Spread out the San Antonio team, knock the defensive back, pick up second balls, and find Mathers in those pockets, those holes, and get the offensive players more involved. Victor, Samuel, people like that, get them on the ball more in the final third of the field. And
we'll be back at halftime to talk about some of the highlights here at Starfire Stadium. Score again, San Antonio 2, Sounders 2-0.
Introducing Sounders Mobile, the largest soccer network in the nation, with the nation's fastest 90G speed.
New 90G high speed.
With nationwide coverage. And we have the nation's largest family plan for families as large as 68,000. Download the new Sounders FC app right now at SoundersFC.com and experience everything Sounders Mobile has to offer. Sounders Mobile. Join the nation's largest soccer network today. Get tickets at SoundersFC.com.
Ahí va Pires sobre el área, Trezeguet la baja y cuidado con este gol. Gol.
Para mí fue el sueño de ser futbolista empezó ahí, la decisión que tuve empezó ahí. En el 98 en el Mundial de Only Golden Goal, que nos hizo Francia a nosotros, mi mamá y yo estábamos viendo el partido, mi mamá llorando porque nos eliminaron, yo la abracé y le dije que algún día yo iba a jugar por la selección de Paraguay y le iba a hacer feliz. En mi infancia Una pelota es para nosotros, el que tenía una pelota en el pueblo era el más querido, pero no todos tenían la amistad con esa persona y nosotros teníamos que hacer de medias, juntando juntas, jugábamos con pomelos, los pomelos grandes, jugábamos pelotas, hacíamos nuestro propio balón nosotros. Vengo de una familia humilde y gracias a Dios tuve el sueño de ser futbolista de un pueblo que nunca tuvo un futbolista y que soy hasta ahora el único futbolista profesional, pero como digo, mis padres nunca me hicieron faltar todo lo que sea con el fútbol. Mi sueño fue con 15 años me fui a Asunción y para mí era como un sueño de un pueblito pequeño, ir a Asunción en la capital de Paraguay, nunca estuve ahí. Fue mi primera vez con 15 años y pensé que ya iba a ser un futbolista profesional, que mi sueño ya lo alcancé, pero ellos no tenían dinero y yo tenía que vivir bajo las graderías. Cuando me fui a Alemania sentí que el paso era gigantesco. Nunca me había subido en un avión, fue la primera vez, y ir de Paraguay hasta Alemania sin hablar ni una palabra alemán, nadie hablaba español. Donde solamente el fútbol era mi lengua, sentí que cada vez estaba más cerca de mi sueño. Tengo muchos, pero el mejor recuerdo que tengo es el gol de la clasificación contra Argentina para el 2010. Y fue en casa y ganamos a Argentina en casa, que para nosotros es un partido especial y con gol mío ese fue el recuerdo más feliz que tengo. Desde el principio, desde el primer día que estoy en Seattle, la gente me recibió muy bien, tanto la afición como todo el equipo, el cuerpo técnico, por eso le estoy muy agradecido y no acepté ninguna oferta de ningún equipo, ya que mi deseo es quedarme todo el año acá. Desde que llegamos, mi familia está muy feliz, mis hijos están en la escuela y están encantados. Mi mujer también está feliz, aunque ahora está lloviendo mucho, pero para mí personalmente también estoy feliz por los compañeros que tengo, por la afición. Yo creo que es la mejor afición de Estados Unidos, eso está claro, y me siento afortunado de pertenecer acá.
No matter how much we love the game, there's a line we don't cross. That line is discrimination. No racism, no sexism, no homophobia, no bullying, no excuses, no exceptions. We stand as one. Rise above discrimination. Take the pledge. Don't cross the line.
San Antonio fans, the club's inaugural season opener is on Saturday, April 9th, against the also recently added USL team, Swope Park Rangers. You can catch all the action live on YouTube. Welcome back. Halftime here at Starfire Stadium, Tukwila, Washington. Aaron Hines and Danny Jackson. So you can see the score, San Antonio 2, Seattle Sounders 2-0. Danny, let's kind of talk about how the first half went, what we think S2 did positively, what they maybe need to work on. Obviously, San Antonio, dream start for them as a franchise, first game ever. Right off the bat, 3rd minute in, Jason Johnson causing problems already as he had in preseason.
Yeah, and as we talked about, he's really their danger man, and he capitalizes on 2 real mistakes by S2. First goal comes in, scores with a nice left-footed shot inside the box, and the second one is slipped by Toby in the middle of the field and knocks it through. So as we see in the build-up here, Johnson does pick it up, it comes in, the ball gets nicked by, and O'Neal Fisher doesn't quite get tucked in far enough. Left-footed shot into the corner of the goal. Great start by San Antonio.
And it's a cool, calm finish there from Johnson. Just slots it past Miller. And a fantastic start for Darren Powell, but it didn't end there. S2 then put some passes together, started to get just a little bit of their collective rhythm, and then a second mistake leading to the second goal for San Antonio, and at that point you really were afraid that things could get out of control easily, but S2 kind of brought things back. We'll take a look at the goal here.
Well, it was a tackle in the middle of the field that got a bad bounce off the ricochet off the player, bounces through on his turf. But composed finish by Johnson. I mean, it really was. You know, he's a big player, strong player, but he showed his composure and his quality here to slot the ball home. And again, we talk about, 2 goals up after 10 minutes. Can't ask much more than that for your first game. Darren Powell's got to be extremely excited for his team.
Yeah, incredible start here for San Antonio. Just talking about that goal back there, you see Toby Ball having that deflection, bouncing over the top of his head. Was there anything he really could have done at all? It was maybe positioning out or your thoughts?
Anticipation, obviously, bad bounces happen, and we see with goalkeepers, and unfortunately, when you have a bad bounce to the goalkeeper, it goes straight in the back of the net. It's unfortunate. I think it was just a poor decision to jump on the ball, and again, Johnson takes advantage of it.
Now, as the Sounders 2 season's been going, it's been a season so far of mistakes and decisions. But after those first 2 goals, they began to clean things up and get some passing going. And finally, towards the end of the first half, started to create some real chances. And we'll take a look at those here now.
Well, combination play on the edge of the box, was great by Craven. Plays it in to Matters. A nice shot with his right foot into the bottom left corner of the goal. But, Josh Ford comes up with a really strong hand there, pushes it away. And again, good follow-up by the defenders, McCarthy, to knock it away.
And you got to feel a bit for Mathers, too. Like you said, excellent save and from Josh Ford. It's a good low ball as well.
And again, Mathers comes through. He's a player that's been dangerous for the S2. He's found those pockets of space between the San Antonio back 4 and their defensive 2, the midfielders. And he's finding those pockets of space, I think, for the S2 team to continue to get success. He has to be the player that really connects the offensive side of the field and the defensive side of the field. He can pick up those pockets of spaces. And again, I think finding the ball over the top will spread out the back 4, will give Mathers more and more space. We need to find some more space and more opportunity for Myron Samuel and Victor to get onto the ball in more dangerous positions.
Had a lot of comments for both the outside backs and Nick Hines and O'Neal Fisher. What can they do in the second half to improve the chances for S2?
Well, continue to push forward. I think outside backs in this 4-3-3 formation is extremely important to get up and down the field. The Starfire Sports field is a little bit tighter. It allows you to get more involved further up the field. And they've put some cross in from slightly deeper positions than I think Ezra would have liked. They need to find a way to get to the end line, whip in difficult crosses, because the 2 central defenders, McCarthy and McBride, are big, strong players. And when the ball gets floated in from flat angles, it's easy for them to deal with. You need to put them on their back foot, whether it's whipping a ball between the back 4 and the goalkeeper in those kind of open positions where it's really difficult to defend, or get to the end line and whip them in from there.
Sounders 2 looking to get some goals here in the second half. But on the other side of the field, San Antonio, 2 goals right away, as we mentioned. What can they do? What are they going to be looking for this next half to just kind of close things out?
Very much the same. When the ball's gone forward, they've moved up as a compact unit. They've really played well as lines of a back 4, a central midfield 2, and then with the offensive, really 4. They have 3 attacking midfield players, and then Johnson up front. Very much the same for them. I think it's, kind of compact game management now. They're 2 goals up away from home. They have to now manage the game and try and kill as many minutes off the clock and try and not be exposed in the back line.
And you mentioned it earlier in the first half, Danny. They do look like they can score when they get on that counterattack. Sanchez on the right, Johnson up top, Alvarez in the middle, and Cochran on the left-hand side. It's going to be a very exciting second half of action here at Starfire Stadium. Stay with us.
Sounders fans, meet your new Match Pass. It's on your phone. Now access to rewards and other offers is available right here in the new Sounders app. So you can redeem rewards anytime, anywhere. Thanks to the Sounders app, you no longer have to worry about swiping or tracking your points. Redeem rewards for free in the app, or secure your spot instantly with a Buy Now purchase. And new to this season, every dollar you spend with Buy Now goes back into your community. Rewards with a purpose, now easier than ever. Start your journey to big rewards and a bigger impact by downloading the Sounders FC app today and creating an account.
Sounders FC fans, ever wonder what it's like watching a match from the sidelines at your own table? It's possible with our slalom experience pitch side tables at CenturyLink Field. This exclusive experience includes an on-field table for 4, food and beverage with wait staff, on-site parking, and more. Call 877-MLS-GOAL or visit SoundersFC.com. Your table is ready.
Seattle, they're back. Guns N' Roses, live at CenturyLink Field, Friday, August 12th. Get access to preferred tickets with your City Card. Buy tickets at LiveNation.com.
Sounders FC fans, if you haven't already heard, the Steve Zakuani and Friends charity match has been scheduled for Sunday, May 15th, here at Starfire Stadium. He's got quite the squad lined up for this match. Eddie Johnson, Landon Donovan, and Steven Hauschka are just to name a few. For ticket information, visit SoundersFC.com. And welcome back to Starfire Stadium. Aaron Heinzen alongside Danny Jackson as the score is San Antonio 2, Seattle Sounders 2-0. In the second half, Sounders 2 looking to get on the board for their first goal of the season, first goal of the game. And speaking of that Steven Zakuani charity match, Danny, I think are you playing in that game?
I'm going to tie those cleats on. I haven't done it in a while. I think my last game was in the fall for an alumni game at UNC, so we'll see how the legs feel after that.
It should be an exciting event. And but back here, the action for the players. Sounders 2. As we mentioned before, looking to get a goal. We were talking about San Antonio before we went to the break about that counterattack. They still have Sounders 2 had a lot of possession towards the end of the first half, but there was definitely some moments where they had to be very careful.
I think the Sounders, their possession and keeping the ball was pretty poor in the first 15-20 minutes. It got better and better. They were cleaner with the passes. They controlled more of the possession. But San Antonio did a great job of picking off those passes, finding those loose balls in the central area of the field, and then attacking with speed with their 3 attacking midfield players, and then Johnson, of course, their threat up front.
2 goals, probably one of the most, or it is said as one of the most dangerous leads in soccer. What do you think Darren Powell's telling his team right now?
Well, Darren Powell's, like you said, it's a strong back line. Josh Ford hasn't had too much to do. Continues to do that. For the S2 team, they need to find the ball over the top, stretch the field out to give players in the middle of the park a bit more space to start cutting them through and finding the offensive 3 in better positions.
San Antonio looking to extend their lead here at Starfire Stadium. They've got 2 goals so far in the first 10 minutes. S2 managed to turn the tap off, hold them off for the rest of the half. A lot of good opportunities from S2, or at least a couple that they had there towards the end of the first half. What do you think Ezra Hendrickson's saying to his players right now?
It's an important 15 minutes, for any coach that had, 2 losses, no goals, finding a way to get back into a game against a team who's had good success, picking up loose passes as we talked about, pushing the ball through. And I think they really need to find a bit more energy. The offensive 3 need to find a way. Maybe they need to shift positions, change up the outside. Samuel's been stuck on the left-hand side a lot. Maybe shift and find some success on the right-hand side. Mosley looks, a little less speed than the outside players on the right-hand side. So I think maybe if we shift and move positions a little bit, they might find some better space and some better opportunities.
Well, second half oftentimes means substitutions. Taking a look at the bench here for San Antonio FC first. And we got number 23, Fujiro Okiyama, Danny Garcia, Sebastian Tourier, Sean Chin, Miguel Salazar, Victor Araujo, and Matt Cordoni is the backup goalkeeper. Okiyama is a defender. Chin, the other forward option. Salazar, a midfielder. Araujo, a midfielder. And Garcia, a midfielder. And Tourier. So plenty of midfield options there for San Antonio attacking as we get underway here. San Antonio going from left to right here in the white. Here's Mosley. S2 meanwhile, ball into Johnson. It's a good one from Mosley. There's one over the top from Castillo. Miller comes out and gathers it up. He'll go long with it. Looking for Andy Craven on that far side. Header nicely won by San Antonio. Ball's now collected by Lorenzo Ramos, number 41. Speaking of substitutions, S2 have made a couple. We'll have those for you as soon as we figure it out. But certainly Lorenzo Ramos has come into the game, and number 41 there replacing number 90, Mark Oyong. Center backs remain the same.
Leading as number 90, Mark Oyong. Coming in to earn this strike is number 41, Lorenzo Ramos. Second substitution was number 80, Big Green starting out. Entering is number 81, Devin Fisher.
And it is confirmed Devin Fisher has come on for Victor Mansoret. And as I previously mentioned, Lorenzo Ramos on for Mark Oyong there in the midfield. Here is Ramos. Fortunate bounce for Craven. And there's Hines on the right-hand side. You mentioned it, Danny. O'Neal Fisher is now shifted over to the left-hand side, and Nick Hines on the right there.
Yeah, you know, it made a slight tactical change, but you know, when you look at the substitutions that were made, I think Victor Mansoret coming off the field, he has to be a little bit disappointed. He comes off, he's got a strong pedigree, he's a good young player, but he needs to find a way to kind of do something in the final third of the field. Really, as a forward, what is it? Shots on goal, assists, it's goals. And he has to find himself in a position to do more on goal and become more of a threat in the final third.
48th minute here. San Antonio in possession. Here's Mosley with a left-footed cross. Clears everybody. Rolls out of bounds.
And when you look at O'Neal Fisher playing on the left-hand side, when you think, you know, Dylan Remick played yesterday for the Sounders, you know, came in for Jovin Jones, you know, there's a tactical play there as you kind of look to see some more experience on the right and the left, because of O'Neal Fisher experience last year on the left-hand side. He's a natural right-hand side, right-footed player. Again, it's more of a kind of tactical play.
Ball across through the middle. It's looking for Craven. Can't put it on target, but some exciting stuff there from S2 and a real clear-cut opportunity.
Getting to the end line, cross back from the end line is much more difficult to defend as a central defender, and then Andy Craven does a great job getting in front of the defender, and unfortunately can't hit the target.
First fruits of the change from Ezra Hendrickson. We saw Hines put that ball in. Myron Samuel on the right side as well. Saw him operating with Hines on the left earlier.
And it's nice for Ezra to have that type of flexibility, right? You know, there's not many times you can switch a left back and a right back. You don't see that too often. To have players who are comfortable in both positions, you know, that's a plus.
Ball out to Sanchez now, San Antonio. Ball on the right. Take it on Fisher. Fisher will nudge him off the ball, does well defensively. And it's going to be a goal kick here for S2.
You know, the challenge with when you play against teams like San Antonio is, you know, they don't have this kind of this hybrid solution where you have, you know, S2 and a Sounders organization kind of all somewhat under a similar type of umbrella. This is their game of the week. You know, they go in there, they're going to play their strongest 11 all the way through, and they're going to push for those 3 points, because for them, that's really what it's all about. It's points on the board, it's success, and it's getting those results, especially from a young franchise starting off strong.
There's Toby on the ball to Sturgis, who's dropped in between the two center backs. Looking long. Can't connect it. Craven looking to hunt it down off the feet of Ford. Ford looks to clear. It's not great, but Samuel can't trap it down. There's going to be a foul. That's going to be called on Devin Fisher, who's actually slotted in at right back. Excuse me, Nick Hines has moved on to the left, just underneath Craven. So they're going to use the pace of Hines on the left-hand side, with Fisher just behind him. Two Fishers out there makes things a little tough sometimes. Toby, nicely brought down by Alvarez. Now the referee's going to call a foul there on Devin Fisher.
It'll be interesting to see how the S2 team, from a tactical standpoint, change in this second half. They're going to continue to press high out the field, which is what they did in the last 5 to 10 minutes of the game, pick up these second balls, which I think is really the way to get back into this game, is to find a way to kind of shift that back line up, but it has to happen in one go as a compact unit, pick up those second balls and attack again with more players getting into the box for those crosses.
Two over the ball here for San Antonio. Their fans in the background. Castillo whips it in, easily headed away by Devin Fisher. Mosley throwing for S2. Certainly looking to use the pace up top of Nick Hines on the left, Craven up top, and Myron Samuel on the right. Fisher. Alfaro looking for Fisher. Good ball from Alfaro, but just skips a little too far into the hands of Josh Ford. McCarthy.
Better by S2, pushing further field, putting pressure on McCarthy. He's probably not comfortable on the ball, as he showed right there. You know, big boy, good, strong, and powerful in the air, but get the ball at his feet, you know, maybe that's where his weakness is. So if the Sounders can force the ball into a play like that and then put the additional pressure on, try and win it, then you can pick up the ball in the final third of the field.
Some interesting changes here from Ezra Hendrickson. Looking to put that extra pressure on the back line, and Josh Ford as well. Goal kick here.
It looks like Ezra's also kind of put Sturgis as a holding midfield player and allowed almost like a 1-2 in front. Instead of 2 defensive midfield players playing 1 defensive midfield player with Sturgis, and then allowing 2 attacking midfield players to support the front 3.
And Sturgis sitting in there frees up Ramos just on his right-hand side. Of course, Zach Mathers pushed forward even further up the field towards Craven. Sanchez on the right sends in the cross, goes over Miller. It's headed down dangerously by Cochran, but from Miller's viewpoint, I don't think it was ever going to get anywhere near to the goal.
And Ramos, of course, a different type of player, you know, to Oyoung, you know, shorter, quicker, nimble feet, technically very strong. And again, if he and Mathers can find those pockets of space and better positions on the field, they can be dangerous.
Lorenzo Ramos, as we see Castillo going forward here, he's got Alvarez. Time on the ball for Alvarez, now in the box, plays it to the top. It's Reed with a shot. Sails high over the top. Ramos played extensively last year for S2, another U18 Academy player. A lot of experience, though, in an S2 jersey.
And again, looking at S2 from a tactical standpoint, you know, Sturgis finding a lot more ball in his feet, you know, dictating the play, trying to control possession. Central defenders getting a little bit wider, allowing that space in the middle of the park for Sturgis to come in, pick the ball up, and then start to distribute out.
Samuel on the ball, back to Ramos. Another series of some control here from S2. That final pass, tough one for Craven, broken up by San Antonio. Just sitting in. Here's Sanchez on the ball. Hines defending him. It's worked by Nick Hines, cleared away by Palacios. Alvarez with the header. Picked up by Cochran, knocked away by Ramos, and now to Devin Fisher. He's got Johnson trailing him. Samuel. Can't keep it in. He's going to be throwing for San Antonio.
Again, we mentioned it at halftime. I think Samuel's got to find a way, and Ezra's got to find a way to get him into the game more. You know, he's talked about he's the type of player knocking on Ziggy Schmidt's door. He's got to find these games as kind of great opportunities to showcase himself and get goals and get assists. And you know, sitting out there on the outside of the field, you know, Ezra's maybe going to make some tweaks and some changes, or even the player during the run of the game, find those areas to get the ball and be more dangerous.
Alfaro wins the header. Center of the field, McCarthy knocking it back. Castillo sends it on. Sanchez nods it down, and it's going to be S2 ball. Here's Fisher. O'Neal Fisher, that is. Johnson always going to win that header battle on Nick Hines. Does he keep it in? AR says he does. Picked up by S2. Ramos looking to find Craven, broken up by Castillo. O'Neal Fisher again. He sends it in. McCarthy heads it away. Cochran's got it. Alvarez with time and space. Alvarez going forward. Here's Cochran. It's a good ball through. He's offsides. It's about to say Sanchez with a huge opportunity there.
Confident play by Tony there, putting his hand up and have the confidence that the linesman is seeing the same thing he's doing. So, good step, offside. Of course, central defender, you're trying to play on the edge there, on the shoulder. But again, a good example. O'Neal Fisher gets in a position, he cuts in his right foot, he plays in a pretty flat ball, easy to defend, and then San Antonio quick on the break and have an opportunity to go forward.
And another example of good cross from Greg Cochran. And nearly a huge opportunity for Manolo Sanchez. Toby looking over the top. It's going to skip past everybody and roll out for a goal kick for San Antonio. USLsoccer.com. Keep up to date with the USL all season long by visiting the new USLsoccer.com for everything you need to know about the USL and its 29 teams. And we see the first change here for San Antonio. Coming off the field is the big number 9, Manolo Sanchez. Spent the 2015 with the New York Red Bulls. Coming on here looks to be number 11. Nope, stand corrected. It's number 17, Sean Chin.
And Chin had a good amount of time in preseason, was pretty successful, got some good kind of run-outs by by all standards, and he's another good player to bring off the bench, and provide a consistent attack.
Here's Mathers looking for Samuel. Ford comes out and collects it. Mosley going long. That's broken up by Devin Fisher. Sean Chin spent some time last season with the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. Out of Miami, Florida. Sam McBride back to Ford. Craven still chasing. McCarthy. He goes long. Devin Fisher wins the header. Bounces to Reed. Goes back the other way, and ball's going to go out of bounds. Doesn't find anyone.
A little bit of inexperience on the S2 standpoint. When you see Craven sprinting side to side, chasing that ball down, the back four have got to kind of drive the team forward, press the ball further up the field, and support Craven. Otherwise, you've got to pull him back, give him a breather, because otherwise it's just wasted energy.
That's a good point, Danny, because you saw Craven looking around as he's sprinting across the field, wondering where everyone was.
Right, and I think that's been a challenge in this game in general. I think S2, when the ball's transferred, when you see decent pressure, it's not happening as a team. It's happening individually right now. It's not happening as a unit. And I think on the flip side, I think San Antonio's done a good job. When they put pressure up high the field, they move together as a unit and they play compact and they win the ball. And that's why they're so dangerous on the attack.
Samuel trying the flick, doesn't work out. Mathers can't get to it, and San Antonio's broken away here. It's Reed. Cochran, another cross from him on the left foot. Skips everyone. Johnson's going to hunt it down. He looks to play it off of O'Neal Fisher, I think. Fisher's quick to get out of the way, and Miller's got it.
Another good example. They win the ball, they attack with 5. Certainly more players than we've seen S2 attack with in the offensive third of the field. And again, slight better cross, certainly much more dangerous. Thankfully for the S2 team, ball goes long and comfortably picked up by Miller.
Missed cue from Toby. Ball goes out of bounds. We're going to have another break here. Substitution. 60th minute. And Nick Hines is going to come off the field. Started on the outside. Finishes up top. Coming on for him. It's going to be another U18 product in Handwalla Bawana. Number 42, Handwalla. headed to the University of Washington next year here in Seattle. Join Jamie Clark and company up there. Here's Zach Mathers going 4. Mathers has it broken up by McCarthy. Slaps his hand on the ground in disappointment, and just like that, San Antonio headed the other way. Alvarez. Scott Johnson to his right, Cochran to his left. Alvarez still going. Cochran. Lots of space out there wide for Cochran. Puts the ball inside, but doesn't trouble anyone. Tyler Miller gets it.
Well, when Mathers goes through and he's got the ball and he's attacking the back four, you know, it's options available, and he had a few options. Eventually, kind of obviously trips over his own feet. But again, you know, the flip side is the ball gets lost in possession. San Antonio go down the field. They're able to attack with 4 or 5 guys. And again, from a threat, from a standpoint of committing players forward to try and get that third goal, where in essence, you know, they could be on the back foot and say, hey, you know, we'll attack with 2 or 3. We'll be a bit conservative. We've got a 2-goal lead, 30 minutes to go. But no, they're pushing up. They're trying to get that third goal. And I think you mentioned at halftime, 2-0 is a dangerous score in soccer, right? And certainly that message has been hit home by Darren Powell is go for that third goal, find it, because I think at 3 goals down, it becomes a much bigger challenge for S2.
Absolutely. And I think that's it. It's just comfortable enough for teams to start to shut off. And when they do, the other team gets a little confidence, gets 1 goal, and then you're in a dogfight again.
And when rhythm gets shifted and the momentum shifts, it's hard to sometimes grab hold of and get control of that momentum again.
Certainly as the game goes on. One of the warmer days here in Seattle. Maybe not for these San Antonio players, but certainly for S2 as legs start to get tired, minds start to get tired.
Yeah, I think, you know, S2 will probably feel the effects of a 70-degree day, certainly more than, like, as you said, San Antonio will.
Ball back to McCarthy here. Palacios wants to go over the top. Alfaro will settle it.
And you would think S2, you know, they've had a good long preseason. They've been in camp for a number of months now. They've had a few kind of competitive games under their belt. You know, they're training day in, day out for a while now. That extra, you'd imagine, bit of fitness might kick in. And this is where I think S2 need to really kind of start to press and commit a little bit more energy, a little bit more force going forward and see where San Antonio tire, because really it's their first competitive game.
And it is certainly true. There is no fitness quite like match fitness. You can do all the running and the preparation you want, but everything that comes with the cutting and the movement and the sprints that a match has, that takes a toll on a player no matter what.
It does.
So we see a foul here on the far side.
These are the opportunities, you know, for S2, right? You've got set piece in a dangerous position. You know, you're looking at the board and thinking how much time's left. These are the times where players like Andy Craven, who's got strong aerial presence, need to find the opportunity to get on the end of a cross. But it's all to do with the quality of the cross, as we know.
It's just Zach Mathers over it. Everyone else at the top of the box, with the exception of Toby and O'Neal Fisher, are back. Mathers whips it in, it's good strong. Palacios knocks it away into the trees. First corner of the second half for S2.
You know, great cross. I think that area between the goalkeeper and the back four, we've talked about it at halftime, is a really difficult one to defend. You know, San Antonio did a good job, but again, good quality cross. Then it's a commitment from the forwards to try and get in front of that first defender.
Mathers again with the corner, whips it in. Looks like it's headed away. Palacios, I think, got on it. Alvarez tries to clear, but it's only half clearance. And now here comes San Antonio going the other way. Bawana looking to run him down. It's Chin. Here's Reed. Time and space for Reed on the right-hand side. He puts it back in the box. He's got Alvarez at the top. Scoops it over there to Cochran. Miller's sliding. Was it deflected? Chapala Street says no. It'll be a goal kick here for S2 as we have... That's the substitute, Sean Chin, on the ground there.
You know, he got a nasty hit off the ball. I think it was... this cross comes in here.
Just sliding in. There's Tyler Miller. Really, really close. Scary moment for S2. Chin gets back to his feet.
He got a bit of a blindsided hit off the ball. And again, I think it was... pure accident, but those don't feel good.
Chin seems to be okay. Miller plays Sturgis in. We were underway again. Sturgis going long, looking for Fisher. Just a little bit too long.
But again, interesting tactical change, right? The central defenders kind of shift to the corners of the 18, leaving this big space, allows Sturgis to come in, collect the ball, distribute out. But again, tight confines, difficult to play those balls out wide, and then what do you do with it when you receive it, right? So I think, again, it's kind of building with some control through the middle of the park, connecting the passes like what we saw in the last 20 minutes of the first half. That's where they were getting success.
66th minute here, we'll just see Carlos Alvarez make his way off the field. I'm going to talking to here from Chapalo Street saying, pick things up, I'm holding it on my watch. He's going to replace here by number 11, Danny Garcia. If you're unfamiliar with the USL substitution rules, they do get 5 subs, as the usual, compared to the usual 3. Johnson on the ball does well. Plays it out through McCarthy. To Ford. Again, Andy Craven, good pressure from him. Putting Ford under pressure. And a throw in here for S2. Toby. Devin Fisher. Samuels. San Antonio with plenty of guys behind the ball. They've won it back. Castillo. Flick there from Garcia. Excuse me, Chin, his first touch. Now it's Garcia on the ball. Got Cochran to his left. Another cross from Cochran. Easily handled by Miller. Miller looks long for Samuel. Headed down by McBride. Awkward ball for Toby to handle. Garcia picks it up. Garcia seems lively. Good replacement for Alvarez.
I think what was positive for San Antonio, when you look at the changes, it really hasn't, the quality hasn't dropped. When you look at players like Chin coming in and Alvarez going off and Garcia coming on, it really hasn't changed the dynamics. They continue to press, continue to pick the second balls up, and then continue to attack with numbers.
Good tackle there from Toby. S2 trying to work it out. It's going to be a throw in for them on the far side. Possession lost. You see San Antonio just dropping everyone back. Castillo sits, Reed sits. Chin goes to hunt and find the ball. That time a little too vigorously.
And this is where I think, a slight tactical change could happen, whether it's in, kind of the formation.
As we see that ball misplaced from Toby, picked up now, and San Antonio race forward in numbers. Johnson's got it, and he finds Cochran on the left. Devin Fisher going at him. Cochran again with another cross. Just surprised there's nobody there on that far side for San Antonio. He's whipped those in several times.
Cochran's done a great job of getting into those dangerous positions, 5-10 yards off the end line, whipping those crosses in, and albeit, a better run from a forward or commitment from the backside and the blind side from another player, there's a few more chances that are going to arrive, but, they've done a great job of getting down the flanks and whipping in dangerous crosses.
Good turn from Mathers, finds Craven, an opportunity for Andy Craven. Can't put it on frame, goes over.
Andy Craven's got to find a way to try and hit the target there and make the goalkeeper work. There's not many chances he's had where he's looking at the goal. He's got a chance to kind of hit the target and really kind of fails to do so. But again, these are the things that a forward needs to find. He needs to find those pockets of space, good spin into the channel. And again, hitting the target's probably the number one thing there.
We've seen a couple of chances go awry for S2, not just in this game, but in the first 2 games of the season. These moments come few and far between for S2 at this time, and I totally agree with you, Danny. They should be on frame. Garcia looking to get it, goes down. The referee isn't too concerned. There's Toby. And S2 have made one more change. Ali Hodzik's come in.
But I would certainly try and extend the field now. One of the things is you're looking at, 20 minutes to go, still 2 goals down. Can we spread the field? Can we start knocking the ball a little bit further over the top, a little bit long, and then finding the second balls? And I think so far in the first 25 minutes or so of the second half, S2 has failed to pick up those second balls in dangerous positions, but these start extending the play, knocking the ball a little bit longer, then picking up those second balls in the offensive third of the field.
Here's Ramos as Amir Alihodzik comes in for Myron Samuel, gets his S2 season underway. Nothing for him tonight, but it's early yet. Ramos looking for Alihodzik, big man. Does well to win the ball back. Switches it over to O'Neal Fisher. Palacios is there first. That ball from Reed. Now it's found Cochran again, continuing to be dangerous. Hunted down well by Devin Fisher. And Garcia is called for a foul off the ball on Lorenzo Ramos, pushing him over. It's going to be a free kick for S2. Facebook. Become a fan of the USL on Facebook for exclusive news and interactive content. And Twitter. Follow at USL on Twitter to keep up with all the live action during the 2016 USL season. Toby looking for Craven. Over the top, and McCarthy heads it away. Now Mosley. Back the other way by Sturgis. Johnson, he's got time. Here's Chin on the right.
You look at like a player like Rafa Castillo, you know, in his mid-30s, you know, many years of experience. You know, he's a player that's been consistently strong throughout the game. He's picked up second balls, he's distributed the ball well, he hasn't overextended himself, he's just connected passes, and that's allowed San Antonio to go from defense to offense, you know, with rhythm. And he's a player that's really connected to those dots.
And that's certainly one of those things that just comes with that age. Player who knows his body's getting a little bit slower, he's not moving as fast as he used to, and he can just do it, sit in there and do his job.
You know, it's about reading the game, right? You know, you put yourself in positions in these little pockets of space to cut out the pass. You know, you don't have to run that much in certain areas of the field if you know where to position yourself.
O'Neal Fisher on the left. Finds Sturgis, cut out by Castillo, but Sturgis gets it back. Here's Andy Craven. Craven looking for the back heel. He gets it back as well. Shot from Craven. Ford gets a hand to it. With no pressure. We'll wait for Mathers to walk over. Now it's in Ford's hands.
You know, not really troubling the goalkeeper there at all. But, you know, the good thing is I think Craven's shown in the second half he's really the player that we've seen providing energy, enthusiasm up front. At the end of the day, when you're 2-0 down, you need to find some energy and positive play from somewhere. I think Craven's been a good example to the rest of the team of how to chase, how to hurry. He's got 2 shots in the last couple of minutes, and he's picking up these second balls.
Pressure certainly paying off for Sounders 2 from Andy Craven. Mathers going in for a header. There's Lorenzo Ramos on Castillo. Cochran. Can't find Garcia. Goes to Alfaro. Craven looking to get it again. Off McBride. Mathers. Good little ball to Bawana. Handwalla Bawana still going. Referee takes a look at it. Andy Craven gives him a touch there. S2 really want to get something on the board. Here's Andy Craven, still going. Craven, 4 defenders around him. Mathers gets the shot away. Ford has a touch and another corner for S2.
Good rhythm of play, you know, great ball by Mathers, kind of slips in there. Unfortunately, I thought, you know, looked like a trip. Craven comes back, Mathers gets a quick pop shot, goalkeeper makes a save. But again, more pressure, consistent pressure from S2.
Ball whipped in early. McCarthy knocked it away. Now it's to Johnson. He's got no one around him. Big touch, but keeps it. Johnson going at Toby. He's got Devin Fisher back there as well for help. Johnson still going, falls to the ground. Toby's got the ball. Referee says play on. Alihodzik pulls out of pressure, uses Sturgis.
Good defending by Toby. Again, you don't need to necessarily outpower a player. As long as you put yourself in a position to kind of get yourself body between the ball and the player, it's a good example of how to win the ball cleanly and then play out from the back.
S2, a few subs. They've come alive here. Lorenzo Ramos. Sturgis. Playing away from home, San Antonio, first game of the franchise history. Alihodzik looking to find Devin Fisher. But you mentioned it before, Danny. 75th minute. Players' legs getting a little bit tired. First game of the season. This is the third now for S2.
You know, and as you remember back in the day when you're traveling from San Antonio, you haven't got 2 or 3 days to get acclimated from, you know, time, travel. You know, these guys probably flew in yesterday, you know, and they got to turn around and got to leave tomorrow. So again, you know, these things that these players now getting used to as an organization and as a team flying into these places like Seattle. This is the third home game for S2. So again, 15 minutes to go. This is where S2, I think, really have to put the foot on the accelerator. You're starting to see that shift in momentum over the last 5 to 10 minutes.
We see Mathers nearly playing Craven in there earlier. Referee Chapalo Street's going to get on forward here for a little bit of time wasting.
Well, it's good to see, right? You know, you're 15 minutes, you know this is going to happen, and whether it was, you know, by chance or kind of on purpose, he's seeing a bit of time wasting, and again, that's puts S2 in good stead because, you know, this will can currently happen now. The last 15 minutes, as time management kicks in, they can try and kill the clock, time waste as much as they can because they've got a 2-0 lead to protect.
And we'll see another change here from Darren Powell. Greg Cochran's going to drop back to left back in place of Bobby Mosley. Coming on is the big number 23, Fahiro Okiyama.
You know, look at S2 now, you know, they're starting to look, instead of playing 3 across the top line, they're playing what would look like a forward 2 with Craven, Headwaller playing a little bit higher up the field, gives them a bit more support when they do win the ball and get the ball to feet. Gives them a chance to start attacking with more players.
Miller's going to clear that one away. Castillo fighting with Mathers. Still working hard in the midfield. And we'll see young man Toby Johnhope exit the game for the first time in his S2 career. He's played every single minute so far until today. Stepping in for him is a fellow academy kid, Harrison Kurtz.
Yeah, and we talked about it before the game. You know, warm-ups are so important in the game of soccer, especially at this level and as you go higher up the levels. You know, you've got to hit the ground running from the first minute. I think as we looked at both sets of teams, you know, San Antonio, first game, there was a huge amount of energy there. They were buzzing around during warm-ups. You know, S2 looks a little flat, and then the first 9-10 minutes showcased themselves, 2 goals, conceding 2 goals. You know, and it sometimes does derive from that warm-up session.
As we see a yellow card handed out. Looks like that may have been for number 17, Sean Chin.
Again, no lack of ambition from San Antonio. You got Greg Cochran coming back playing left back, and he's all the way up the field taking a throw. You know, not playing conservative. You know, certainly continue to attack.
Garcia plays the ball into Castillo, gets a shot off, falls to Johnson. And that is number 3 for the... Excuse me, that is not Johnson. That is the man who's just come into the game. It's Fahiro Okiyama. It was a shot with a deflection, fell right to the substitute. And he puts it in with no hesitation.
It was the play we mentioned before, Castillo finding that pocket of space, being the right place at the right time, comes in here, left foot. Good block initially, and then the ricochet falls nicely to Okiyama, and he slots it into the goal. So again, with all that pressure from the Sounders, I think, you know, coach will always say when you have pressure, you have to find a goal from somewhere. Killer goal from San Antonio.
Certainly seems to be. The result is out of the reach for S2, but they could still get something on the board. Craven still working hard. Mather still working hard. Sturgis urging people forward. This is where they're going to need all the help from the veteran players.
And it's been a great example of physical play by San Antonio, combined with good technical and tactical play. You know, they've looked strong, they've looked powerful, their goals have been through kind of a combination of good, insightful play in the final third, and then, you know, good, pure power. And I think, you know, it's a good game for the young kids at S2 to see what playing against these experienced players with strength and power is like. it'll be a good take home for them to see how to play against these players a little bit better next time.
Absolutely. Here's Garcia. Man who supplied Castillo with the ball. Chin, excellent work from him. Garcia back at the top. Castillo was in there. Good deflection from Alfaro. Here's Harrison Kurtz. Play it wide. Devin Fisher, who has slotted in next to Alfaro at center back. Ali Hodzik is right back now since the departure of Toby.
I think that's been kind of a, the whole game's really been a bit part game of decent play by the S2 and then giving the ball away cheaply. Ramos gets the ball, he plays it around the corner and gives it away. And I think that's been kind of the rhythm of the game for 80 minutes at this point, is kind of decent play in spells and then giving the ball away cheaply.
Well, we certainly saw that with the first 2 goals. Like you said, Danny, and there again, you just felt that S2 were maybe a little bit unfortunate to have that. Obviously, there were some mistakes that led to it, but the deflection, not a lot you can do. As you see, Mathers plays in. Hand Wallop. Now to Kurtz. Kurtz getting it on his right foot. Good tackle from Palacios. McBride sees it away. And it may just be a matter here for San Antonio to letting the clock run down. Okioma working to get maybe his second. Here's Fisher. Devin Fisher, that is. Sturgis. Ali Hodzik keeps it in play. Finds another run. That is Devin Fisher pushing forward. So both Ali Hodzik and Devin Fisher coming from center back there.
Well, committing more and more players up front is certainly kind of probably the name of the game now. I mean, like you said, I think 3-0 down with 10 minutes to go is really a tough one to kind of pull back from. But, again, it's all about building blocks. What can you do now in the next 10 minutes to build yourself into the 4th game and then try to build from there to get that result.
83rd minute. Nike is a proud partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike Soccer information. Garcia again. Pass doesn't work out, goes out to Fisher. O'Neal Fisher. Kurtz. Fisher getting around. Bawana. Ramos. Kurtz looking for that initial pass, broken up by Castillo again. San Antonio go long with it. Alfaro. And Walla Bawana. It's got Sturgis. Sturgis back to Bawana. S2 looking for something here. Palacios holds off Bawana, but it's nicely done, and it'll be a corner kick here for S2, right in front of the ECS crowd on the left-hand side of the stadium. Ball whipped in. It's over Ford's head, but headed away by McCarthy. Quick throw in taken by Ali Hodzik. Devin Fisher. Not the best ball. It's cut out by S2. And Chin. Now Garcia's got it. Chin looking to get it back. Devin Fisher clears it all the way back to Tyler Miller. He switches it.
Again, committing players forward with less than 10 minutes to go. You look at someone like Johnson, who scored 2 goals in this game. Now he's been asked to do a shift on the right-hand side.
Good ball there from Kurtz, looking to find Bawana, but Ford is there. It's come out well all game. Ford cutting off anything S2s can supply in behind that back line. Ford throws the ball out now as he's down.
Well, as I was saying, Johnson doing a shift on the right-hand side. He's a player that, maybe could be taken off. He scored 2 goals. He could stay up front. But no, tactically, Darren Powell has trust in him to keep him on the field in a different position and give him the trust that he's going to do a shift on the outside as well. So, impressed by him, impressed by the team in general. And I think, as moving forward for their inaugural game, this is real positive things for them.
Exciting stuff coming out of San Antonio. As we mentioned before, they set out right away, put a good product on the field, build from that. And they've certainly proven that tonight as S2. Haven't been able to find the back of the net. Long ball there from Ford. 3 goals, 2 in the first 10 minutes from Johnson. Then one just a few moments ago through the substitute Okioma.
when you look at kind of, going from the goalkeepers Josh Ford made a couple of really good saves coming back into Seattle after being here for 4 years. Central defenders doing a really good job. You can't say that they've done anything good or bad. They've just been extremely strong, extremely consistent, and really been a strong force and a strong foundation for San Antonio to build from.
86th minute here in Tukwila. Aaron Heinzen with Danny Jackson. Hope you're enjoying some of this USL soccer action. San Antonio, first game of the franchise. Here's Bwana. Can't get it past McCarthy. So I was mentioning, first game in the franchise of San Antonio FC, third game of the season in 2016 for Sounders 2. As this ball back to Tyler Miller. Nicely composed from the goalkeeper. Miller's going to send it long. He's got both Craven and Bwana up there. Goes to Sturgis. Cleared away again. Alfaro. Heavy touch from him, but he's fortunate. Keeps it, finds Bwana. Doesn't do the simple thing, falls to Ford, and he clears it away with Okioma thundering down the field. Miller's out of the box. Fisher wins it. Going long is Chin, and picked up by Miller. Kind of a crazy moment there.
Again, it's decision making. The goalkeeper comes out. If you're going to commit yourself, you're going to have to clear the ball. And again, it's second balls, it's cheap giveaways. I think it's been really kind of the consistent theme of this game.
Mathers, good run from him, but can't hang on to it. And again, that's we've talked about for this game, and not just this game, for the other two games Sounders too have had, Danny, that we just see maybe that final ball, that final decision, that end product isn't there, and therefore Sounders too have yet to score a goal this season.
I agree 100%. I think quality of the final ball has been good. And you think about these players who are going to come back into practice on Monday or Tuesday, and they're going to have conversations with the Ziggy Schmidt and Brian Schmetzer, and they're going to be asking questions about getting first team playing time. Well, these are the opportunities to go out and stake your claim. And I don't see many of them having enough of a positive game today to kind of cause the coaching staff, Ziggy Schmidt, Brian Schmetzer, and the rest, any challenges and problems in decision making on who to put in the 18 and who to put in the starting lineup. So again, I think lost opportunity for some of these guys to really stake a claim and have some kind of base of work to kind of move forward and kind of have a claim to get some time.
And certainly still early in the season, but those of you Sounders 2 fans, as Craven looks to win the header there, it's going to go to Ford, but wondering perhaps they do have a lot of under-18 academy players out there. There are 2 injuries Sounders 2 are dealing with right now, as you see Craven caught up in something here between Cochran and Ford.
I think that's the positive to come out of, right? You've got a lot of young kids. I think the academy system is building up incredibly well. We've seen players come through the system. I mean, Jordan Morris being kind of a most recent example. DeAndre Yedlin, Aaron Kovar, Darwin Jones. I mean, some really good, strong, powerful signs that the academy system is really playing well. And these are the games for those young kids who are 17, 18, 19 years old. It's a great way to give them the experience in a game time situation against big, strong, physical players.
And as I was going to mention, we have 2 other players who are still injured right now for S2, and Michael Nelson and Jordan Schweitzer. Both be a big help. Both not academy players. Those would be S2 players that would help out here a little bit with some of the youth. So we see Sturgis going long for Bwana. Bwana's got it back. Here's Mathers. Harrison Kurtz. Got Bwana, S2 looking for an opportunity. Goes to the far post. Cochran put in a good game today for Cochran as he heads it away. Darren Powell does like players that can do both. Ali Hodzik, far post. Skips everyone but Bwana. Bwana back inside. Nice header by McCarthy. Clears it away. Okioma picks it up. Got Garcia to his left. Cochran through Okioma, but Alfaro picks it up to
If
Miller.
you go back just a minute or so when the long ball was played in, McCarthy kind of goes back, heads it back up into the air. We pick up a second ball. Unfortunately, we try to kind of do a little bit too much and we don't get that final quality cross, final quality shot. But again, it's that tactical player playing the ball a little bit long, putting a McCarthy and McBride on their heels, maybe where they're not strong, where they start opening up their legs. They're big, powerful boys. They're good in the air, but I think making them feel uncomfortable today really wasn't achieved by the S2 team, and that's a good example of if you did put them on their back foot, problems occur.
S2 still looking for their very first goal of the season. Palacios throws it in. He seems to be limping quite a bit. And he's going to remain on here as we go into the 90th minute and into stoppage time. Lorenzo Ramos. For S2, they're not going to get the game, but can they get something on the board? Ali Hodzik. He'll send it in. It's a great ball, just captured though by, looks like Sam McBride. That's going to be another corner kick for S2 as Palacios now goes down.
Palacios has had a solid game. He really has. I mean, he's not really put that many, done that many things wrong. He's been solid base on the right-hand side. He's got involved going forward. He's been a strong backbone on the right-hand side and the back four. And again, kind of good timing for him. Goes down, kills a couple of seconds, couple of minutes off the clock, allows San Antonio to get kind of back in position, take a breath, and then kind of push through these final few minutes.
We may see a replacement for Palacios. Not sure how bad it was. How bad his injury is. It looks like it's going to be Sebastian Turriera coming in for him. Haitian player. Stoppage time here at Starfire Stadium. Aaron Hines and Danny Jackson. Seattle Sounders 2 third game of the season. They will pick up again here on April 12th. Sounders 2 hosting Rio Grande Valley. Another Texas side. And of course, we mentioned earlier, April 9th, San Antonio opened their season with Swope Park Rangers. Kansas City affiliate. As we do see Sebastian Turriera come in for Palacios in the final few minutes of the game here. Ball whipped in by S2. Carthy again gets his head on it. Foul called on Mathers.
And the S2 team has 5 home games to start the season. If you look through the schedule, they have a heavy away schedule going through to the last 7, 8, 9 games of the year. And again, eking out kind of results now. Those final 2 home games is going to be extremely important to give them the confidence to go on the road.
And last year, S2 struggled mightily on the road, but they were undefeated for the first half of the season here at home. Very end of the season, got into the playoffs, were eventually eliminated back in Colorado as we see Castillo on the ball.
It's good to see the S2 players, Mathers, Craven, continue to push forward and press, And that's a good sign for things to come. The energy's still there all the way to the last minute.
Players still working to the very end, like you said, Danny Jackson, but we are all done here. That is 90 minutes. The final score, San Antonio FC 3, Seattle Sounders 2-0. Sounders will start the season 0-3, but pick it up and do it again against Rio Grande Valley on April 12th. And as I just mentioned, San Antonio looking to kick off their home season, home franchise start down in San Antonio next week, April 9th, taking on Swope Park Rangers. Danny, final thoughts?
Consistency across all areas of the game, from the technical and the tactical play. Again, getting academy kids experience, I think that's a really big plus. And I think trying to find those final executed passes, those crosses, those shots, that final ball in the final third of the field, something to work on going to the next game.
Ezra Hendrickson and company will go back to the drawing board, see if they can put it all together here next week. Thank you for joining us tonight, everyone. Final score, as I said, San Antonio 3, Seattle Sounders 2-0. That's all from us here at Starfire Stadium. I'm Aaron Heinzen for Danny Jackson and Bootstrappers. Thank you and good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent from the United Soccer League.